Ah, here we go. This is the roof. Wow.
Have you been here?
No, this is my first time.
And look at this. This is very much built like a battleship. It's intended to be.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like a German submarine.
This is fucking great.
Look at that monster.
From the Second World War.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's strange.
Okay, let's start.
Fine.
So this is Jan Jornmark, famous urban explorer in Sweden. He's come to visit us and see some Haikyo in Japan. We're on top of the New Sky Biru right now. And maybe, Jan, you tell us a little bit about how you got into urban exploring and why you like it.
Yeah, at least well known in Sweden. It was just kind of by chance. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I've been looking at these internet sites from Detroit and Belgium for several years. I liked them very much. But I thought Sweden was really mucked up. We had no ruins, was my idea. Then I ran into just one spot by chance. It was like kind of an amusement park. And it had been famous when I was a kid, when I was a teenager back in the 1970s. And well, yeah, this is ruined. Like, yeah, this could be something. And then I found 4 or 5 of these spots just by chance. 2005, 2005. I put them up on the internet, and the internet site was almost an instant success. When it got big very fast, I started to work like hell. all of these explorers, these Haikyos in Sweden. That was a wonderful year in 2005-06. Found 2 new friends, Bengt and Jacob, and we were traveling thousands of kilometers, finding wonderful places all over Sweden. And I got a contract with a book publisher, most probably because I was able to tell the stories, being an economic historian.
Well, yeah, you're a professor, or you were a professor.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Or how that led and how that helped you with your book pitches?
Enormously. That was probably the reason why I was successful, because I had been an economist, got a PhD in economic history. I wrote this thesis about the restructuring of Western European steel in the 1970s, 1980s, and wrote another book which made me a professor about city planning and back in the 1970s and 1980s. So I pretty much knew the story about what happened to the places. And finding the places was like finding for real what I've been writing about. Yeah, these are the remnants of the books that I wrote.
Right.
So I was able to tell these stories and finding the people and finding the structures. And people liked it, and they still seem to like it.
Okay, so you told me you travel up to 150 days a year working as a professional urban explorer. Could you give us a rundown of what kind of lifestyle that is?
It's an awful lifestyle. It's much more fun when you don't do. Really, I got a family. I really got 2 families, and being away for that amount of time. I was in Detroit a few weeks ago. Then I went to Tokyo. In 2 weeks, I'll have to go to part of Sweden for a week to make all kind of lectures. It's, yeah, of course, I think it's better than working, but being away from the family isn't all that fun.
Sure.
I got 2 kids. One is 1 and one is 5. That I obviously shouldn't be away from that much. But still, it's very fun, and it's kind of a choice you have to make.
Right.
What you do is that the new book that I'm working on is about globalization. So it's more international than the 2 Swedish ones have been. And of course, in order to do that, I have been forced at gunpoint to go to Detroit a couple of times, to go to Las Vegas, and then of course to Japan.
Right, and that's for your latest book. And you've already published 2 books in Sweden, which were bestsellers.
Yeah. And
the next book you're hoping to sell internationally. You mentioned selling it in Germany and other countries.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance you could become the worldwide expert on ruins and urban exploring? Because I think there's no one doing that now. Would you like to take that spot if you could?
I don't know. I don't know. But when you get into this, it's a bit like you could try new ways. And of course, Der Spiegel made a thing about me this last autumn. And yeah, the interest is obviously there in Germany. It's the same story as in Sweden. You got this change in Japan, in America, and I'd like to write about it. And I always like to write about it. And I think let's see what happens. I don't know.
Okay. So as part of this traveling around the world, you get to meet lots of different people in the urbex, Haikyo international community.
Yeah.
Have you had some great experiences doing that?
Yeah, I think that's a very fun part of it. Finding guys like you here in Japan, my friend Jan in Detroit, people around the United States and so on. Yeah, it's very fun because you get into different kind of communities. You get to know people all around the world, share your kind of interest. I think that's the best part of it, really.
Wow. Okay. Okay, do you have any knowledge or expertise or understanding of why Japan is in ruins so much and so many Haikyo lie around still?
Much of it, of course, has to do with the economic bubble between 1985 and 1990. Even if the amusement park was built a few years later, plans were also from 1989, 1990. It was a tremendous bubble. It was the first of the 5 bubbles that have gone through the world economy since. After the Japanese, you had the Southeast Asian bubble, and then you had the IT bubble in Europe, and then you had the American housing bubbles, and in a way they're all connected to each other. And the Japanese one was the first, which makes these amusement parks and love hotels very interesting, because they're in a way the story of this series of bubbles that have been like a tsunami riding around the world since 1985.
Right.
And Japan getting stuck in that bubble in 1990.
Yeah.
Going into a period of 20, as they say here, last years, being unable to finish it. That's a compelling story. It's a very interesting story, not least as an economist. And also the problem that I heard with taking care of all these bankruptcies and having an aging population and having very rigid immigration laws. All of this makes up to the stagnation. And yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Okay, Jan, thanks so much for being interviewed today. It's been great to meet you. Good luck with the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you around.
See you.
Bye.